always goes anyway. It undergoes a renovation. The thing is renovated at the moment. But you can still see the most important thing through the window here. This is a floor like a stone carpet, a mosaic. That's almost 1,800 years old. And this was ground floor in the Roman times.
Wow.
So the city rose century by century,
Yeah.
5 meters, 15 feet to get down to the Roman street level,
Wow.
ground floor. People, but you probably know this, houses were always built on what was left of the old buildings. So the level of city rose 5 meters. So this was ground floor, and you see a mosaic, and in the middle, in the center, you see two naked, well-shaped, good-looking naked gentlemen.
Yes.
The one on the right-hand side with the snake around his thigh is Dionysus, a
Okay.
depiction of Bacchus or Dionysus,
Bacchus, yeah.
the same god, the god of wine. The Romans were just reusing the Greek gods. And he's assisted by the other man. On his left-hand side is a other man who was like a subordinate god, a helping god, a satyr. And the two of them are clearly shown drunk. They're leaning on each other's shoulders. So you have a drunk god of wine assisted by a subordinate god. And this depiction of a drunk god of wine led to the theory that the whole thing must have been used as a dining room. You know, we are looking into one room of a Roman house now. The Roman house had 25 rooms. You look into one room now, and most likely connected with drinking, partying,
parties,
music,
yeah.
theater, orgies. It was all connected to Dionysus. So this is about the Roman times, and now I can walk you through 600 years of building history of the cathedral with the help of some pictures. So we get to the entrance in, let's say, 3 minutes. And then summarize 600 years. About 3 minutes with the help of pictures on the wall. Behind this little wall, the big building site, one of the very building sites is now that will never be finished, as I said. This is a hotel that's being renovated. The old hotel closed down 6 years ago. And don't get me started. Whatever there's a project in this. It's nothing to do with the cathedral. Best example, cathedral. This is the skyline of Köln, the way you will see it later on when I walk you to the other side of the river, seen from the east side. In the center is not the cathedral. In the center, 1531 by the way, pictures from 1531. In the center is Great St. Martin, the church that you might have seen when we went up the stairs. We passed by later on, I'll tell you everything about it. But it's older than the cathedral, it's a Romanesque church. Next to it is the Town Hall Tower, another tower that you will see later on. So in the center and the focus was not the cathedral, because the cathedral was not yet finished. 1531 is after 300 years of working with the cathedral on the cathedral. After 300 years it was only half finished. So the painter, the drawer, didn't put it in the center because it was nothing to boast about. It was only half finished. So after 300 years, half. And now we are walking through time. 1605, you see the very same unfinished church. So nothing has been added in these 70 years. We had needed 300 years to get this far, and then 300 years, nothing happened at all. So 1605, next picture. End of the 18th century, so end of the 1700s, still the very same thing. The east part had been finished in less than 100 years. In the following 200 years, we only managed to finish the lower part of one tower, and then after 300 years they stopped work on the building completely. Nothing happened anymore. I will tell you something about the reasons later on. First, it was 1842 now. Work finally restarted. After 600 years altogether, 300 of the 600, a big rest. Work restarted now, and they finished the thing 1880, which means 38 years only for 2/3 of the southern tower, for the whole of the northern tower, and for all the things missing in between. One half of the building was finished in 38 years. The first half had taken 600 years. And this is all you need to know about these people. This is a photo of Kaiser Wilhelm. After the death of Frederick Wilhelm IV, the brother Wilhelm I, Kaiser Wilhelm, took over. And this is a Prussian. These Eastern Germans,
That's
these
what you were saying.
military style, getting things done Germans, they were here. Luckily. You know, it's not that we should to think ourselves.
So it wasn't. So it wasn't a money issue for those 600.
One of the
I could.
the woman on the left hand side with the red hair.
Yes.
She was not asleep. The long cloak makes her look like she was not. Two types of money in the Middle East. The one company, the blue suits, and the other one with the red cloaks is the Swiss Guard. We call them the Swiss
Oh.
Guardians. The name refers to the Pope.
The Pope.
In Rome, who's protected by Swiss Guardians.
Right.
Here they're just called Swiss, they're not real Swiss as in Rome.
No.
Here it's people who locals who protect the church, not any pope. We don't have any pope, and not even the
No.
bishop. They protect the church. But until May, for all the centuries before that, it had to be man. It was a male profession.
Of course.
And now in May we introduced one for the very first time in the history. Women are allowed to guard to protect the cathedral. This is a very new thing. So you met two women now. This is something very, very special. So the women are still not allowed to be priests in the Catholic Church.
No.
But they're allowed to protect.
And what's the office?
You don't have to
Yes.
You have to pay. You queue for like an hour before you get in, and then you have to pay a lot of money. Not here. There's no entrance fee. This is why they collect donations. The guided tours cost money, by the way. So
Right.
not from me, for the church. They
Right, for
take
the
money for
yeah.
guided tours.
Of
And this
course.
goes into the maintenance work. But for private people, without
can
any
just
tour,
walk in.
without any guide, they just walk in. Anytime. It's open all day. But you're expected to leave a donation. But you don't have to. You donated already by booking the tour. Now, back to the cathedral. Oldest part would be the very, very east. We entered from the west, as you should enter a church entrance on the western side. In the very east, you see the Golden Shrine, and that's the reason why you are here. In the Golden Shrine or the Golden Sarcophagus, you will see closer later on. We do believe, the locals, the believers believe it's the real thing. It's the skeletons, the bones of the Magi. They are on our flag too. This is the city arms, the crest of the city, and on top you have the crown, and the crown stands for the wise man
The
or the
wise
Magi.
men.
We call them the holy kings. This is not really accurate. The Bible mentions one gospel only, by the way, but one part of the Bible, Matthew, mentioned the Magi as magicians, as wise men, not as kings. The name
Exactly.
king is not in the Bible. Everything is very uncertain about these guys. They were left out by three gospels completely.
Completely.
And
That's right.
the name king is definitely not in it. And it's not sure that it were three too. They delivered three gifts according to Matthew. They brought three gifts to Jesus,
Right.
but it could have been 15 Magi with three gifts. Only two Magi with three gifts. So everything is very, very legendary. But let's put it this way, if they existed, if there were historic people at all, we have them. There's no other town who claims to have the relics of the mortal remains of the skeletons here of the Magi.
Of the Magi.
So either they didn't exist or they're
Or
here.
you have them.
And the church was built around it. We had a previous building here. The Golden Sarcophagus is older than this Gothic church. The Golden Sarcophagus went into the previous church, a Romanesque one, at the very same site. And then the people, as I explained already, were thinking it does not fit. This old-fashioned church and relics as important as the Magi, we need a better, more modern build. Without the Magi, no cathedral. Very unlikely at least. I don't think we would have started a project as big as this one. Without the Magi, without it. They did not die here, this goes without saying. The Magi. They had come to Milano, Italy, via Helena, the mother,
mother of-
historic Helena, the mother
of
of Constantine.
Constantine.
Exactly. The mother of Constantine, the Roman emperor. And the mother was really a believer. She
Yes.
gathered all Christian relics she could find,
Oh, so
brought them to
many.
Italy, so many.
Yeah.
This parts of the cross, the steps leading
Yeah,
up to the cross.
exactly.
She brought everything to Italy. And she was the one who claimed to have found the Magi, brought them to Milan. They were in Milan for centuries. And long story cut short, it was more complicated than stealing. But Barbarossa did not feel bad about it. You know, everything in Italy belonged to the Germans anyway. The Holy Roman Empire of the German nation is just a theory. The medieval German kings saw themselves as successors of the Roman emperors. So Italy belonged to them anyway.
Anyway,
Everything
yeah.
belonged to them in Italy. So
They just relocated it.
yeah, exactly. Within the empire,
Within the empire.
they put it here. And this church needed to be built around it to attract pilgrims. And when the pilgrims started coming, let's say the pace slowed down. Now, something about windows. In a Gothic church, you have to talk about windows because it's only windows. There's no webcam. It's only pillars leaning pointing out. It's all pointing out. It's only coming all those So when the church finally finished in the 19th century, in the 38 years, the first thing that they did after this long rest, when nothing had been done, was to put in those windows. And they were all sponsored by one man, and the man was a king, but not one of these Frederick or Wilhelm, not a Prussian king. It was Ludwig, the king of Bayern, the king of Bavaria. You might have heard of Ludwig II. He was the crazy mad Ludwig, they call him the Neuschwanstein builder, all these fairy tale castles. The grandfather of mad Ludwig, Ludwig I, the same Ludwig, sponsored all those
did
windows. And very shortly now, he sponsored all those windows. He wanted to have something Bavarian. Bavaria is far away from him, which is the southeast of Germany. He wanted to have something Bavarian in the Prussian church because the Prussians did not finish the church as a church. Why would they? The Prussians, all these nobles and the kings, including the kings, were Protestants,
They were
Lutherans.
Catholics.
They weren't. So they spent so much money to finish a Catholic church, not as a church. In the same time of finishing the church, Germany had gotten together as a nation. The first nation, Germany, 1870, Kaiser Wilhelm, Emperor Wilhelm, Bismarck as the chancellor. They had brought all these formerly independent little princedoms kingdoms together, called the nation. In the same time, it's getting together as a nation, tell the tradition of the cathedral, but they finished the thing as a symbol for Germany, to show the world what the Germans can accomplish.
To do, not
They
for the
did not finish it
religious
as
one.
a church.
No.
They made
I
that
get
very
it.
clear. It was the tallest building, 1880. 1880,
Yeah.
worldwide tallest building, this church, unwithbroken. Officially tallest building. This is something to boast with, you know. The Prussians finished the tallest building, and the Bavarian king felt left out. Ludwig felt left out of this project, the symbol for Germany, so he wanted to have something Bavarian. And he was kind of humble. Ludwig did not have himself depicted on any window, but he still made very sure that everybody knew that the you find his name, no picture of Ludwig, but you find the name, and you find the family arms, and you find the white and blue for the symbol of Bavaria. The white and blue left hand side, the bottom left, the crown to show everyone he was a king. Not just someone, not some kind of noble, he was a king. The family arms, the white and blue, on the right hand side you find this Ludovicus and Bavaria and donator. So he donated all the windows. So this is all 19th century, and all the windows on the other side, just opposite, look completely different, and they are 300 years older. All the windows belong to Renaissance windows. I would go into detail on the other side when we leave. As we would leave the church. We have two organs in the church. Fleur organ is not really old. The older organ is from 1948, so 1948, 1998. Both organs are post-World War II organs. The pre-World War II organ covered the whole of the northern crossing, much bigger than the two together, but it was destroyed in World War II. This church has been hit. 14 bombs hit the cathedral. There's this rumor it wouldn't have been hit. That's not true. It was not meant to be hit. Bomber Harris gave an order to his pilots, telling them, don't you hit the Cathedral of Köln, because it was needed as a landmark. The pilots did not have any GPS systems in those days, they flew inside. We don't have any mountains here, so they needed the cathedral just to show them where they are. The thing is, it was not meant to be hit, but it was hit. It was not feasible not to hit it. So 14 bombs, that's not theory, that's the fact. 14 bombs hit the cathedral. It was not destroyed due to the Gothic style. You know, the blast, the air pressure could get out, we don't have any walls.
Right.
And the windows were removed. Just to protect them. The windows were stored safely in bunkers.
Before?
We found the mosaic outside, by the way. We found the mosaic while building a bunker. The windows were not meant to travel far. So we were building a bunker just right in front of the church in 41. Building the bunker, we found this Roman mosaic. This is how the Roman mosaic was just a coincidence. They found it while building a bunker. So the windows were put out, just empty arches. The blast
Could just go out the open.
it survived due to the Gothic style. This is the main reason, but not the organ. Organ destroyed. After the war we put in this small one. They found out it's too small to fill the church. So we needed this one. And they are connected now. There's a wireless connection. Don't ask me how that works, but it works. It works. So you need only one keyboard. So the lower keyboard. And now coming back to Gerhard Richter, ladies and gents, the artist, this modern, very famous artist, the painter, designed that. And that's another World War II story. The old window, the original window from the 19th century, showing people, showing Bible scenes like the other windows in the lower, on the ground level here, was blown out. They took out most of them, but not all of them. The original window here was left inside when the first bombers came. They had started too late with removing the windows. They were not finished when the bombing started. So the original window blown out, destroyed. And after the war, we didn't have the money for a full replica, so we wanted to have something in the frame only. So like on the left-hand side, these grayish, colorless windows, left-hand side. So we put in just a ornamental thing without any colors. In between 45 and 2007, there was just a grey window here, nothing special. And that's the southern crossing, a very dominant window. Everybody knew we need something colored.
Sure.
And in 07, not very long ago, 2007, we had finally gathered enough donations. Was paid with donated money. And now we employed Mr. Richter. And Richter was left a free hand to design the new window now. And this is what he did. And as I said earlier, it's very controversial. Many people in town, to put it cautiously, don't really approve. Including the bishop, by the way. You're in a cathedral, and this means it's a bishop's seat. And the bishop in 07 told everybody who wanted to listen he's against this design. He wanted something traditional, Bible scenes, people depicted, modern martyrs, modern saints, but he could not really push it through because it's his seat. The church is the seat of a bishop, but it's not his church. Everything is decided by a corporation here. And and the bishop is not a member. So he tried to use all his power as the bishop, telling everybody, I don't want Mr. Richter as the artist, but we had some modern art lovers in this corporation, and they pushed it through.
You don't have like a diocese that makes
It
that
is.
decision?
No, it's a diocese.
You're calling that the corporation?
No, this is something different. The diocese is not only the city, this is the big part of this province. Everywhere which is underneath the same bishop is the diocese.
It's the diocese, right.
But this church only is one of the very many churches in the diocese. We have like hundreds of churches in the diocese, a very, very big part of the west of Germany here. But this church is run, let's say, is organized by a corporation. We call it Domkapitel. There are some secular members, Townsend members, some church members from the Catholic Church,
Okay.
from the diocese in a way,
Uh-huh.
and 2 members sent by the Pope even.
Oh.
And they decide things. And
Oh, I
they
see.
they vote for the bishops too. They elect the bishops. The Pope has to offer 3 names, and they elect out of these three names.
Oh.
The Pope tells them they choose the bishop. But the bishop can be a member beforehand.
Uh-huh.
But when he gets bishop, officially the bishop, he is not a member
He's
any longer.
out.
He's out. So he can complain he did, but he could not print it because he's not a member of this corporation. And there's lots of power, but there is not enough power to prevent it. I'm a big fan, by the way. So if you should like it, you're in good company too. You're in my company. If you shouldn't like it, you're in such bishop whatever that means. It's not the current bishop. The bishop of 2007, he died 4 years ago. So we have a new one now. We don't have an official statement from the current one about the window. He did not make up his mind on it. At least he didn't tell anybody if he liked it or not. But it doesn't matter. It's here. It will stay. Now, you are in the oldest part of the church now. This was the crossing where the window was, when the altar was. So we entered on the western side, crossing over there. And this is the east part. This is the oldest